Don't forget, I'm 30 and I get to breathe air. That's not something the next generation gets to do. So, ham radio. I go ham on ham radio. I don't. I was not that flavor of nerd in high school that got into ham radios. You know, people think that I'm smart, but I'm not smart enough to do a lot of things. Like engineering, biology, ham radios, mocks. I can't. I'm not that kind of smart. All right, more ham for me. Not a fan of ham, though. You still get it. I like ham burgers. Tell me to eat ham, you better say burger after it. Because I like hamburgers. I had a hamburger for dinner today. You don't understand. I did the physics, and I got through like one semester of actually being able to do physics. The math that is involved, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. It just goes straight through me like Tim Hortons coffee. I mean, I always blame like my education in the United States for that, because I was always advanced in like math and science in high school and in middle school and in elementary school. I was always advanced placement in those things. But then I found out that with No Child Left Behind, that doesn't mean anything. Because No Child Left Behind means that if you are advanced in math and science, then if you go out of the country, you are behind in math and science. No Child Left Behind needs to be deleted. But the test scores are good, which means you have to keep it, because there's no other indication of a child learning other than standardized tests, right? There's no other indication of the performance of a school or a teacher than standardized tests. He says sarcastically, I am from here too. Sarah, I know you're from there too, but you stayed. You went to CU, I went to U of C. That's the difference, right? If I had gone to CU, I could catch up. For sure I could catch up. But I didn't, I went to UC. And so all the stuff that they said in physics class, which is like, we're not gonna cover this because you did it in high school. Surprise, I didn't do it in high school. I'm sure I could have taken like one course at CU that would have brought me from No Child Left Behind level high school to like actual standards of math and science. How did we get from ham to No Child Left Behind? Let me check the chat real quick. The chat doesn't help. How did we get from ham? Oh, I'm not that specific. I'm not the type of nerd that does like construction and engineering and ham radio and stuff, because I'm not smart enough. And the reason that I'm not smart enough, I blame No Child Left Behind. Even though I know it's my own fault, I blame No Child Left Behind. Oops. I also blame No Child Left Behind for missing that poll. We only teach them to pass the test, not the scores to learn. Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. Because why have an education if you can't quantify it, right? Why have a quality of life if you can't quantify it, which is why we have GDP. Why do anything if you can't put it as a number on a spreadsheet? Huh? This is the Tower of Urmazd, the fertile ground. Oh, you guys can hear it. Never mind, I'm reading the subtitles. Yes, do the stereotypical millennial thing, blaming the things that aren't them. I'm gonna do the stereotypical millennial thing and blame the systems that were put in place by the previous generation that disincentivize progress. I'm gonna do that. If I'm gonna be any of the millennial stereotypes, it's gonna be cares too much about Harry Potter and blames the boomers for things that boomers did. Yes, that's more of a stereotype, which is also offensive, so now you're getting canceled. By whom, though? Boomers don't know how to cancel things. Boomers cancel things like home ownership and 401ks. Why would they cancel me? They've already canceled me. Boomers don't need to cancel me. They've already canceled my future. And Gen Z's not going to cancel me because they have less of a future than I do. Don't forget, I'm 30 and I get to breathe air. That's not something the next generation gets to do. So, I'm sorry I don't go golfing anymore. I don't have a future. I don't have time for golf. I have to turn all of my hobbies into something monetizable. Otherwise, I don't have a roof over my head. That's why instead of playing video games for fun, I play video games for work. Instead of building Legos for fun, I build Lego for work. And instead of talking about politics and movies for fun, instead of watching movies for fun, I watch movies for work. Thanks, boomers. I've given my personality to multiple corporations on the internet so that they can make a profit off of it. Thanks, boomers. They also like to get offended at the thought of the younger generation getting offended by things that they aren't actually offended by. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite things, is getting offended by made-up stuff. Like, we get offended when you offend stuff. But, like, I'm not out here trying to police language. Boomers, do the thing you love and never work a day in your life. And you'll never work a day in your life. Right. Because I'm doing the thing I love for work. Thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you especially to my Prime subscribers. Because I like it when I get money without you giving me money. Yeah. So, here's a fun fact for people that aren't immigrants, I guess. But the common understanding is that boomer mentality, like Western boomer mentality, is on par with first generation immigrant mentality. And most of the people that I hang out with in real life are first generation immigrants. So imagine the time that I have explaining what I do on Tuesdays to immigrants. Hot take, Hyan, what's a career? If corporations don't have loyalty to their employees anymore, then you can't build a career, right? If you cannot stay in a job long enough to have a career, then a career is not possible. And jobs are not structured for you to be in a long time, right? My dad had his job for 18 years. Yeah, that's what it is. Here's the thing. If you work a construction job, for example, and you're not unionized because everyone loves busting unions, what are the odds that you take an injury and your job is going to still support you while you recover from your injury, right? It's zero. If you're in the United States, it's pretty much zero. Oops. Right? Kellogg's just did that recently. John Deere just did that recently. We like to think of a career as a long-term job because that's what it is on the surface. But what a career actually is when the job cares as much about you as you care about the job. Assuming that y'all care at all about either things, right? When the job needs help, you help the job. When you need help, the job helps you. Right? Hot take, if I'm gonna be doing a job of 3 full-time workers for your company, you need to pay me enough to live and eat. Yes. That's the other thing, is if a company hires someone, they need to pay for that person to be alive. John Deere is under fire for a right to repair as well, yes. John Deere is just getting it. That's part of the reason why agriculture stuff is so expensive now, is because John Deere's workforce, John Deere's supply line, and John Deere's stupid right to repair. And they have a large portion of the agriculture market on lock, so all of these problems are compounded. That was one of their founding things. Just like Kellogg's was founded on being a wholesome family company, and then when they got rid of single income households and they got rid of job security and they got rid of job safety, people were pissed. Because there used to be a time where one person in the family goes to a job. Hyan, you've highlighted the point here. You got the point. The jobs don't care about the people, so having a career is impossible. The only time people can have a career is when they make their own job, right? When you become an entrepreneur, or in some cases, a content creator, if your content is spread out enough, so like not me. I guess, yeah, Kellogg's was founded on wholesome family values, but the wholesome family values of a religious cult that didn't want you to masturbate, which I'm sure we can all relate to. Like, that's why people took jobs at Kellogg's. That's why people took jobs at the post office. That's why people take the jobs that they take. Can you give me an example, Hyan? I'm hurting for an example. Any company that is sustainable enough to take care of their employees when their employees aren't there, right? Any company that gives 2 to 3 weeks of sick leave and vacation pay and stuff like that, any company that's not a startup that gives those things, please. And the reason I'm saying not a startup is because startups are not sustainable. Startups rely on so much gambling that while some people have turned them into a career in the short term, what usually happens is they ended up either failing and falling back on some safety net that they already have, or they end up being bought out if they're successful. Entrepreneur, content creators, some small family businesses. Right, but those aren't sustainable. Okay, so 2 things. One, if I open up a family-owned bookstore or a family-owned grocery store, what's stopping Walmart or Amazon or other people from taking over that territory and making it so that I can't have a job anymore? Nothing. There's no regulation around it. There's nothing stopping somebody from taking over that industry. Entrepreneur, content creator, and small family business need capital to start up. They are restricted to upper middle class and upper class. The only reason that I am a content creator is because when I started this, I had a stable enough job that I could afford to be a content creator. That's the only thing. If I didn't have a stable job this time last year, I would not be a content creator. I would not be doing this right now because I don't have enough capital to start up content creation. And I definitely don't have enough capital to start up a brick and mortar business. My brother just sent me a listing right now, $60,000 to buy out an empty restaurant. You'd be surprised how cheaply you can start a business. Right. Can you give me an example, Hein? Because if you're manufacturing a product, and this is a problem that a lot of startups, I just spilled Coke all over my face. So this is a problem that, and you can tell I'm getting heated too. This is a problem that a lot of startups face when they have a physical product that addresses a pain point in the market, right? You see this all the time. You have an idea for a product, you prototype a product on your own. In order to bring it to market, you need to have 1, startup capital, and 2, some sort of manufacturing. In-house manufacturing does not scale, right? So what people do is they soft launch their product. Pressure washer is a couple $100, and you need time. So while you're starting up a pressure washing business, how are you paying your bills? How are you putting food on your table while you are starting up, while you are doing the marketing and stuff like that, while you are getting your name out there, right? You're not going to be able to pay your bills day one pressure washing, right? So when somebody has a physical product that they're marketing, they do a soft launch, right? Maybe it's on Kickstarter, maybe they're starting with a small batch. As soon as they get a little bit of success, one of the larger manufacturers is going to step in and produce it cheaper, produce it faster, produce it probably not better quality, but people really don't care about quality when it's cheaper and faster. If they make the mistake of selling it on a platform that has good analytics, yes. High-end, that is the point, right? In order to have a career, you can't get a career from someone else, first of all. So in order to have a career, in order to have a job that will continue to support you, you need to already have time and money. So if you're just coming out of school or trade school and you don't already have a job in your industry lined up, where are you going to get that time? Where are you going to get that money? If you are just becoming an adult and you're living with your parents, where are you going to get that time? Where are you going to get that money? Unless your parents support you, in which case, fine, right? That's how people get successful. Jeff Bezos had $3,000 from his parents to start his little entrepreneurial thing. In order to spend time and money, you need to have time and money. And while you are using that time and money, you sacrifice sleep, friends, family, free time. Do you? Do you sacrifice that? Or do you sacrifice food on your table and a roof over your head? Because while you're chasing your dream, what's paying your bills? While you're chasing your dream, what's keeping you alive? Unless you have the support of other people, like investors, which you can't have without connections, like your parents, if you have rich parents, where do you get the time and money? There's only 24 hours in a day. And if you're starting with zero money, it is impossible to get more money except by accident. You can't take a side job while you start on your dream because side jobs don't pay you enough to have a dream. And they keep it that way. And free time because you're working a 9 to 5 until you make enough later. But paying you 9 to 5, taking a 9 to 5 in this day and age, in this economy, does not pay you enough to have a dream. It does not. Yeah, we're not sacrificing. When we say blood, sweat, and tears, we mean yours, not somebody else's. If you're working a 9 to 5, you don't have disposable income to prototype a product, to buy a pressure washer, right? If you're working a 9 to 5, when are you going to clean sidewalks with your pressure washer? And I'm saying, and so you're saying that sometimes dreams fail, and I'm saying the way that the economy is set up right now is for dreams to fail. When we look at the current state of capitalism that we have in the United States, that we have in Canada, the dream is designed to fail. The only way to be successful is to already be successful. And you can point to all the examples you want, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, they all had handouts from their parents. Talked about Jeff Bezos earlier, can't talk about him too much because this is his platform. So you don't get to meet any of your needs, and you might have a chance at a career, but if a major corp like Amazon doesn't scoop your idea, leaving you with zero cash flow. Exactly. The way that the system is designed is for you to fail. Why? Only had one emerald mine though. He only got made fun of in school because he had emeralds pouring out of his pockets, right? And Elon Musk and Gary Vaynerchuk, those are like my favorite examples because they're like the dude bros of the internet. They spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on failures, but they get one payoff. People don't have millions of dollars to fail. Gary Vee does. Gary Vee got his start because his dad owned a liquor store. His dad was an immigrant, owned a liquor store, worked, right? That was his career. He took inventory from his dad's liquor store in order to make YouTube videos about them. Would Gary Vee be as famous as he is right now if he didn't have access to his dad's liquor store? No. None of his Twitter nonsense, none of his, like, just invest in the right things, and I'm Gary Vee, and I love grapes. Sometimes I get Gary Vee confused with the Gary Vee impersonators.
I eat blueberries like it's my job. Bro! These fucking blueberries? I fucking love that shit. Fuck.
None of that would exist if he didn't have access to his dad's inventory, right? Amazon wouldn't exist if he didn't have $3,000. Microsoft wouldn't exist if, one, his parents who were on the school board of his private school did not convince the rest of the school board to let him drop out of classes that everyone else was required to take to play on the computer that his school had that most other schools did not have. He also wouldn't have made any money if he didn't take software that was free and charge people for it. Skills that can be learned on the internet are non-transferable. Anything that you can learn on the internet can be done by a robot, 100%. Because the robots have access to the same videos. Small businesses are like 80... No, they are not. They are certainly not. The appearance of small businesses are. Politicians love to say that small businesses are the heart of the economy, that they're a big portion of the economy, but they're not. And even when they are being destroyed, systematically destroyed. Because whether it's tech or production, if there's a startup, somebody's going to steal it. If they're retail or resale, somebody's going to overtake them, right? Somebody like Amazon is going to come in, sell at a loss for a few months just to put you out of business, and then hike their prices up again. The United States has one of the highest poverty rates in the world. Also, GDP is not an indication of quality of life. It's not an indication of individual wealth. It's not really an indication of anything except how many tax breaks you give to billionaires so that they move their funds to your country. Anyway, in America, tons of bills have been passed in the last few years to really hinder small businesses that don't have billion-dollar backers. Exactly. The only way to be successful as a small business or an entrepreneur nowadays, is to have billions of dollars in backing. And I'm saying that as a small content creator. I would be making $0 without the billionaire Jeff Bezos, without the billionaires who fund TikTok, without the millionaires in Redbubble and Streamlabs and all the other things that I need to do to have a business. Even though this is barely a business, this is not enough to live off of. Between Walmart and Amazon, all of the pain points are taken care of, right? Walmart is profiting off of low-income people, just across the board. And Amazon is catering to the middle and high-income people who like convenience over cheapness, right? That's the entire market. When you look at the ultra-wealthy people, they are not buying from these markets. They are not a part of these markets. If all the millionaires and billionaires are assholes, what does that say about millionaires and billionaires? What does that say about becoming a millionaire or a billionaire? If it just so happens that all of the rich people are assholes. And so if you can make an extra buck by not taking care of your employees, if you can make an extra buck by selling your solution, your career, your passion, because being rich is hard, right? You have a 1 in a bajillion chance of being rich, but the system incentivizes being an asshole. Square and rectangle, exactly. If you have to be an asshole in order to be rich, you start with being an asshole. Whether you get rich or not is not really up to you. That's up to luck and circumstance. But you start off by being an asshole. Don't forget, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation would not have happened if Bill Gates' parents did not bully him into it. Don't forget that anecdotes are not evidence. I know that anecdotes are not evidence. But who's going to publish research on millionaires and billionaires? Right? You have to just look at the handful that you have access to. You have to look at the decisions that they make, right? Shutting down the post office, maintaining student loans, dismantling the EPA. Every single data point is pointing in one direction. And even when it points in a different direction, if you look harder, it's pointing in the same direction. If you hoard millions of billions of dollars, you're an asshole. Yeah, I agree. For me, at least, money is only useful when it's being spent. Yeah, it's a good point to bring up, Alfred, right? Anecdotes aren't evidence, right? So how do we turn anecdotes into evidence? We get more of it, right? And then going back to the knowledge conversation, knowledge, it's the same as not having knowledge if you don't use it. Money is the same as not having money if you don't use it, right? So yeah, rich people spend a lot of money on their whatever they're doing. Their tax evasion, their lobbying, their, yachts and houses and all the commodities that they buy because they're rich, right? That's part of it. I missed all of these pillars. Nope, there it is. But what about the money that they don't spend? It would be the same, like society-wise, their personal life-wise, if they didn't have that money. You can't eat shares of Amazon. Yes. But you can trade Amazon shares for food. When they have their assets and their shares and all that stuff, their stock options and all that stuff, they're getting it by taking money away from people who can use money. The value of the company goes up when you underpay your employees, right? When you are more profitable. Whether that profit is realized or in non-liquid assets, by taking money away from people, you are adding to your wealth, whether it's real or imagined. To get backup credit, they are never going to fully pay off to continue making themselves, the banks, and the extension themselves more money. And then when they fail, you get the bailouts. I don't know if I posted the video about this or if I just made the video about this, but when it comes to housing market crash, when it comes to stock market crash, when it comes to recession, when it comes to depressions, when it comes to the plague that we are currently in, who gets support? Not the people. Not the people who are suffering, not the people who are dying, not the people who are losing their homes, losing their jobs, losing their health. No, obviously not. Why would we help them? They are useless. We cannot quantify their value. That's more of a whole problem with the stock market more than capitalism. Why do you think the stock market exists? Who made the stock market? Why do you think the stock market functions the way that the stock market functions? And when it doesn't function the way that the rich people want it to function, they ask for regulations. The same thing happened with GameStop. Oh no, poor people are taking the rich people's money. We need regulations now. Same thing with cryptocurrency. 90% of cryptocurrency is held by banks and billionaires. And when the going gets tough, when the poor people get too much money, crashes. Market crashes. Because that's how you maintain the wealth. So whether it's imaginary wealth in stocks and bonds and assets and all that stuff, the way that you get it is by taking it. Remember, the market is a set of rules made by people who benefit from the market. That's it. I'm still going to disagree with you because you've brought that up since the first stream. This idea that all people are evil and shouldn't be trusted. I'm still going to disagree with you. Because all I'm seeing is a matter of priority. The people who prioritize a number on a spreadsheet will sacrifice themselves, sacrifice their family, sacrifice their employees, sacrifice other people to make that number go up. But the people who care about each other, the people who care about their families, care about themselves, care about the impact that they have on the world, not a number on the spreadsheet, but what they do on their immediate environment and their immediate people around them, or how they act with money, yes. Again, like I said just a few seconds ago, it's about priorities, right?